the many opportunities to teach as an English teacher in South Korea? Do you want to know the processes it takes to get a job as an English teacher? Then do it to watch this video to the end. We have a guest who is going to tell us the processes it takes to get a job here as an English teacher, and also you get to learn from my experiences so far. So speaking of contracts, can you tell us what makes up your contract?
So my contract includes accommodation, and they pay half of my tax, half of my medical insurance.
What do you expect in your interview?
They ask you questions like, do you have any teaching experiences? What do you know of Korean culture? Not as a foreigner.
Okay, so tell us about your teaching experience here. What are your responsibilities as an English teacher?
So my daily schedule is I start at 1:30 in the afternoon. When I arrive at work, I have to check the kids' homework. So all of their homework is online. Our academy basically runs online. Then I start teaching at 2:40. Then we teach for 15 minutes. Then we have a 5-minute break between classes, and then we teach for another 15 minutes.
Like, how many students do you get to manage in your class?
That depends on the academy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so at the academy that I'm currently teaching at, our biggest class is 10 students, but I have taught at another academy, my first academy, and at that academy, I think the biggest class that I taught had like 16 kids in.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many courses or classes?
How many classes? I have 5 classes.
In a day?
In a day.
Okay.
And then I do phone calls.
To test conversation?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's like a 5-minute conversation call that I have with the kids. And I just ask them the story questions that we did for the day.
When does your work end?
1:30 p.m. and then I finish at 7:40 at night.
At 9?
Yeah.
So you mean you stay with students in class till 7:40 p.m.?
Well, no, I stay with students until 7:10.
Okay.
When my class is finished, then I have a 5-minute break. Then I do 25 minutes phone call. And then after the phone call, I'm free to go home. This also depends on your academy. So I'm lucky with my academy that everything is online. I do not have to prepare a lesson plan.
Oh. So do you enjoy your work?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm
So
very surprised.
really?
Yeah, because I thought I would hate teaching, but teaching for me is very fun.
So what do you like most about teaching here? What do you like most about your job here?
Well, I'm not sure if it would be different in South Africa or if it would be the same. Probably a little bit different.
Okay.
But it is very rewarding seeing how the kids grow. Like I've had some students for 2 years, and it's just fun to see their growth.
To me, what you just said is a general answer any good teacher will give about what they like most about their job, the growth of their students.
Yeah.
So aside the general something, what else is specific to Korea?
Korea.
Yeah.
I like the amount of money.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, of course. With Korea, your standard of life here is a lot better for me, than the standards that I experienced in South Africa. You can have a pretty decent life here if you are being careful with your money. Okay. Well, not even that careful. If you do not eat out a lot, taking into consideration your kitchen is really small compared to most South African families, but you can cook at home, and so it really depends on how you live.
So simply put, you can earn enough money or a lot of money in Korea, but it depends on how you manage your life.
Yeah. How
depends on your budget, your lifestyle. Yeah, so that's good. Then can you tell us what you dislike? I mean, you can't just totally dislike everything about your work. What do you dislike about your work?
Sometimes the language barrier is very hard, especially with the younger kids. This also depends on the academy, like how strict they are. It's hard to discipline them sometimes because
you're not allowed
to like hurt them or like smack them or anything. Of course, it's not really good to do.
You mean as a foreign teacher or any teacher is not allowed to spank any child.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's like illegal for all teachers here. Yeah, but they some of the teachers do have the like ruler and then they smack their hands with it.
Oh,
like I've heard of people that do that.
is that allowed?
Not as a foreigner.
Definitely
not as a foreigner.
How do you get to discipline a child? I mean, some kids can be difficult at the time. So
yeah, well, at first I'll ask them nicely, could you please stop? And then depending on their level, sometimes you're like, no, stop. Hand movements are very convenient. So apart from that, if that doesn't work, I'll ask them to put their hands on their head and their mouths in front of them. Sometimes I give them like ponytails for the boys.
They wouldn't like that.
Yeah, so like I make like, and for the girls I make like a little hoop of their hair. They find that very humiliating. Another thing that I've done is I've told them to go stand in the corner because
I've heard of that one.
Yeah. If you tell them they act like a 5-year-old and I'm gonna treat them like a 5-year-old, then they don't like that always so much. So sometimes that works. Again, some kids treat it as a joke and then you can't explain it to them easily to stop because you have the language barrier.
So I'm guessing the best way to discipline a child in Korea is hurting their pride.
I don't know if it's the best way. Maybe not. No. There's various ways of teaching.
Okay.
And so I don't like hurting their pride because then they might lose confidence in speaking English.
Okay.
And so that I would only do with students that are like willing to do it. I have done it with a kid before and she nearly burst into tears and I apologize.
What was the punishment you gave her that made her almost cry?
Oh, the hairstyle.
I was thinking just something else.
Wait, I said I'm gonna post it on Instagram.
Oh, really? But you should have known that you wouldn't have.
No, of course I wouldn't do it. What works the best, mostly, and especially at my current academy, is just talking to the head teacher. You can just call the Korean teachers, and then they scold them, and you can continue your class.
So, it's been said that Koreans overwork themselves. So, do you find yourself in such kind of situation? And if yes, how do you manage the stress?
No.
Rick, I didn't see that coming. I honestly didn't see that coming.
Really? You were expecting a yes. No. I think generally as an English teacher, we're very lucky with the little amount of work that we have. Especially at my academy because everything is online. I don't have to plan a lesson plan. We have our story time is set out for us. My vocabulary practices, speaking practices, reading practices, writing practices, it's all done. So I personally don't have a lot of stress at work because I go to work and everything that I need to do, I finish that day on work. Sometimes the homework is a little long and the kids are very bad at homework and you have to put in a little bit extra effort, so sometimes that takes a little bit longer. But I do have some friends that they have more responsibilities or different responsibilities and they do work a lot harder than I do work. Yeah, some academies are small and they take advantage of their foreign teachers and the foreign teachers work really hard, really long hours and extra class prep. It really depends on your academy.
That's very good to hear. Good and relieving to hear because most times it's as if what you hear is about the stress, all those kind of negative
things. Yeah, you get great academies like mine.
It's actually ugly in some. From what I've heard so far.
Yeah, you hear stories.
Yeah, it could get ugly.
I've had friends that have had terrible experiences.
So it's better the two ways. Like for a fact, you could have it very beautiful, like our beautiful sister here, or not like me. Or you might have not so good experience. So as a foreign teacher, are there peculiar problems or advantages that you experience that you think other Korean teachers wouldn't experience such?
Well, as a foreigner, you definitely get paid more than the Korean teachers.
You do?
Yes, we do get paid more because you are a native speaker. Also, the way that you would teach is a little bit different. Like the Koreans, well, at least at my academy, it's like that. Their job is to make sure the kids understand what they're teaching. I'm making sure that they're speaking it correctly. Okay. So my responsibilities are more focused on like pronunciation and fluidity and intonation, those kind of things. Problems is if something goes wrong with your academy director or at the academy and you become unhappy, that's quite a big problem. Sometimes some of the directors pay late and sometimes they just don't pay. There are cases where some other teachers, foreigners, haven't had their pay fully. You can go to immigration and they're very good with sorting that out. But English Academy owners are often connected to each other. And so
you have issues here.
You might get a stigma that you're the teacher that went to immigration. Not fair. I mean, if you haven't been paid for 3 months, it could happen. I've had a friend that said it happened to them. I've had a few cases where one of my directors paid late multiple times. And then it happened like about 5 times that every month he would pay late, where I would have to send him a message and say, hey, you still haven't paid me, is anything going on? You know, what's happening? I have like bills to pay in South Africa and stuff. And so if that didn't work, I would go to the Korean teacher and the Korean teacher would then complain for me.
Well, at that point, does it mean that the Korean teacher has already gotten his payment?
It depends on the payment schedules.
Okay, so, it's different?
Yeah, sometimes it's different. Depends on the academy. Depends on your contract, when you start, and yeah, it depends on a lot of.
Okay, so if you're watching so far and you've got to this point, please do well to click on that like button. Tell them to click on the like button.
Click on the like button. Where's the like button? That's right there.
Do the
corner. Click on the corner. Like button.
If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe to this channel, turn on your post notifications so you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. But we are still with our guests. Now we want to know, what's the relationship with your students like?
I have a pretty good relationship with most of my students. There are a few students that are hard to.
There will always be those ones.
Yeah. I think it's hard to tell sometimes if it's a language thing. So I've had students that I thought they did not like me at all. Like it's just they're so quiet and they say, you know, sometimes when they look at you, it's like a glare. Like if a glare could stare you, I'd be dead right now. You know, like a dagger in their eyes or something. And then later they start opening up to you, and I was one of the students that used to do that. I actually have a very good relationship with them now. Yeah. So some of the kids, they're very adorable. Like I have a small kid, she comes up to me and she always wants to hug me. Other kids, they don't like hugging. Luckily, Korea is not like Japan, where like touch is a big thing.
Really? I was about to say.
Yeah, so Korea.
It's not a big thing here to touch someone.
No, they're actually very touchy here.
Really?
Yeah, once they're comfortable with you, they're pretty touchy.
I guess maybe once they're comfortable.
Yeah, once they're comfortable, they're.
But you don't
touchy.
just go on and then touch anybody like you're saying hello and you touch the person.
Yeah. No. First time I wouldn't recommend it.
Can you tell us, do you have any culture shocks? Like, I mean, South African coming to South Korea?
I feel there's a lot of similarities between Korea and South Africa.
Really?
Like nature-wise, there's KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, and it kind of feels kind of like that, and the heat is also similar to that. What was a very big shock was the humidity. It's so humid in Korea. It's hot and super humid. The food is also extremely different. So they don't do a lot of mixed foods. they generally have the food all separate, and then of course you have kimchi.
You like kimchi?
I do like some kimchi. There's a lot of different types of kimchi.
Yeah, there are.
And so my favorite kimchi is Bossam Kimchi. It's really good.
So let me know. We've talked about food, the culture shocks and all that. There's one thing that people are always dying to know, which is the K-drama, you know, the romantic part of living in Korea. All we see in the Korean dramas. Is it the same?
No. So this is only hearsay.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustained.
I am not interested in looking for a relationship right now, and so I haven't dated around in Korea. But I do have a friend that is married to a Korean, and
She's African?
No, she's American, and she married she married recently, like 2 months ago.
Oh, really?
2 months ago.
Did
Yeah.
you get to attend?
Not yet. There's some complications, and so they're only gonna hold the ceremony later in the year. I have gone to a Korean wedding though.
Really? I would like to attend.
Very different.
In case you get an invitation, do make it to. I would like to attend.
You have to give money.
Really?
Yes, they don't give normal gifts, they give money. Yeah, so generally you would give like between $50 to $70 as like just an acquaintance or something.
I don't understand. They get to say what you give them.
Yeah, you give it to them in an envelope, and then there's a person that marks your name off that you gave them an envelope.
This is actually a culture shock right now.
It's culturally accepted that if you're just an acquaintance to give like between 50 or 70, that's considered polite. And then if you're a friend, then you can give a little more, and if you're family, they're expecting that you give more.
So tell us more about the K-drama. You already tell us about your friend that got married to a Korean. So.
Yeah, so it's very different. A lot of Korean women are often complaining about like how different it is, and like that it's not at all how it is in K-dramas.
So for instance,
in K-drama, the guy is a gentleman and he's always like listening to the women and stuff. And Korean men are very often not like that. They're male-driven society, so patriarchal. So they believe that the man is the head of the house, like most Western countries do. But they sometimes take a little bit step further. Of course, there is a possibility that some relationships do have that romance.
I've interviewed some people earlier on this channel. Go and check out those videos so that you can know the different opinions people have about this. So from what you have experienced so far, would you advise anybody to come?
Yes. Sorry.
She didn't even let me land.
I'm jumping the question there.
She's inviting you all immediately.
Yes, come to Korea. Come to Korea.
Okay.
If you're unsure about what to do career-wise in your life, you have a degree and you are free and able to go. Come teach in Korea. Seriously, it's very good for you. Mentally, it's good for you. It helps you think differently of the world and of life.
What advice will you give to someone planning to come here?
Planning to come to Korea?
To teach.
To teach. Specifically to teach, I would recommend that you at least learn a little bit of the Korean alphabet. It's good for you to learn just a few expressions, like learn how to say thank you and how to greet someone, and just like basic things like that is good. Also bring a little bit of extra cash for that first month. That is helpful. Your first month is probably going to be the hardest financially because you can't open your bank account yet and like get a phone and stuff like that.
Settle.
Yeah, it's just that first month of setting and things. It's a little hard. Don't come with expecting that you're going to find your country around you. Expect a different culture. Expect something very different, and don't just make friends with other foreigners. Koreans are amazing. They're so great. They're really warm and welcoming people. So make friends with Koreans before you make friends with foreigners. I think that's my advice.
Okay,
yeah.
You just heard it from her. We've been talking so far with the beautiful Minette, an English teacher in South Korea. She has shared experiences with us. We get to know first what it takes to come here, and also personal journey so far in South Korea as an English teacher. So you've been watching Cherechi Ike, and I don't think I introduced myself at the beginning of this video, but you're watching Cherechi Ike, and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. And
Like.
yes, click on the like button
And subscribe.
and oh, thank you very much. And subscribe and click on that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. And do want to check out our videos, especially those concerning how you live in Korea. If you are interested in such videos, I'll link some of them in the description. So thank you very much for joining us.
You're most welcome.
And we'll see you on the next video.
Bye bye. Bye.